great protections, frankly. It's just... in New York State, in many places, I always say in New York State you have a right to underwear, which you do in New York State. In other places, you don't.
Yeah. Or tampons, by the way, either. That's a whole nother thing we can go on for hours.
Or what?
Tampons.
Yeah. They've recently made some moves about this in the state facilities and the local facilities. So that's something they're just starting to do now, is making sure that women have access to whatever type of menstrual material, menstrual sanitary napkins or whatever they want.
Right, napkins. They won't give it their tampons. But let me ask a quick question now, because they just passed a law there in New York State about bail, cash bail. What's going on with that?
Well, it's they passed what we think was a pretty decent start on bail reform.
Yeah.
It eliminates cash bail for most misdemeanors and low-level felonies. There's a few exceptions, for violent crimes and crimes that are sexual in nature, and which we thought this was good. This was a very good start. And then you have to have different forms of bail for that might not require as much upfront cost for other people that are charged with a higher level offense. Especially in upstate, but Long Island in particular, this thing passed. Everyone was thrilled about it. Everyone got, it was a huge component of the governor's State of the State speech last year, Governor Cuomo. People got a lot of good press out of this thing. And now all of a sudden, it just went into effect January 1st. We're sitting here talking, it's January 10th. And they are the sheriffs and the district attorneys and more conservative Democrats or centrist Democrats, even the attorney general, they've all come out and said we need to tweak this bill. Well, it just went into effect 9 days ago. And they're declaring that it's going to be a public safety disaster. They've been trying to promote a Willie Horton narrative. If your listeners know, Willie Horton was famously put up on the TV screen to lampoon Governor Dukakis's presidential campaign. And everyone's afraid of releasing somebody or putting someone out in bail or whatever, and then having them commit some terrible crime and then having their election hopes destroyed. Right. This bill was actually designed to help judges with the Willie Horton problem, because people were afraid to release people on their own recognizance. And so the jail populations in New York State and nationally went up because there was people unconvicted that were being held in the facilities. There's so many of them, right?
Well, especially nowadays, too, because people have all their phone numbers in their cell phone. They don't have phone numbers memorized. They can't call their uncle and their cousin to come get them out,
Yeah. I mean, that's another problem, right? But this was really about trying to reduce the number of people held pre-trial, a.k.a. people who are legally innocent. And so now they're talking about rolling back portions of it. Worst case, we think it's a fait accompli, that it will happen, that they will change the bail laws. But the question is now how. The governor did not mention it at all in his State of the State speech 2 days ago. But from it looks like it's going to be somewhere between adding a risk assessment or an assessment of dangerousness. I'll get back to that in a second, or further restricting the offenses that the judge can or is not allowed to assign cash bail for.
Yeah, really, the only consideration should be whether or not they have a pattern, they have a previous pattern of not returning back to court. They're meeting their court appearances, or they have a flight risk. They live in another country.
Right.
Yeah, right. That should
that's
be
right.
it.
So, and in New York State laws. So nationally, 48 states don't operate that way. Nationally, they're allowed to take, most states went along with the federal government in the 1980s and adjusted their bail requirements that they can assess you on the level of dangerousness to the community, right, or something like this. Sometimes they use risk assessments, which are really, really bad tools. They're racist and otherwise. But New York State did not do that. So the only consideration in New York State legally is if they're going to show up back to court, if you reasonably believe they're not going to show up back to court, and then you assign bail accordingly, right? You cannot take dangerousness into consideration. Now, of course, what they are effectively doing is doing that. They were making that assessment. A judge was making this assessment based on whatever whim they, had that day, and it usually meant that it defaulted to incarceration effectively. Something like 40 or 50% of the population can't come up with $400 if they need to in an emergency. How are you going to come up with $1,000 for bail?
Especially when you're about to lose your job too.
Exactly. Right. I mean,
and your rent's due.
And I mean, let's face it. Like the criminal justice system, I teach about the criminal justice system, and when I talk to my students about it, who are the people that get locked up? It's poor people. Jails, prisons, police. These are all, to a person, poor people. We're trying to, and nationally, we've heard a lot of discussions about this. Mass incarceration has been a political project designed to manage poor people and people of color. I think there's a little dispute about this, or there should be. Just look at the economic situation of people incarcerated. They are poor. And instead of, this is how we decided to manage these problems that we created through, gutting the welfare state, which had its own set of problems. Anyways, all these people are poor.
We could cut down the prison population with Medicare for all and a safety net for people. Or you don't even have to. I was going to say before, just go down there, go to your courthouse. You can go there and sit there and watch all the arraignments all day long, and watch these people. They're all crying there because they had some kind of tragedy in their life. They can't afford the fines. They get. It's just a cycle. But you don't even have to do that anymore. You could just sit home and watch this live PD and watch these cops making excuses to pull people over and come up with another excuse to search them so they can find a joint on them.
We have, I'm getting reports recently of, cops sitting outside of certain motels.
Yeah.
And they pull you over for pulling out of a motel parking lot.
Yeah.
It's... And even more disturbingly, now they're starting to, redeploy the police to serve other political aims, namely policing their opponents. So, recently there's been 2 large instances of mass arrests that were tied to protests here, that were, silly. They were designed. They had police ready to arrest people.
Sure.
These guys. They get all these guys hopped up, and then there's a protest, and they start arresting people. Right. It's really a disturbing state of things that we have nationally, and here what we do here in Binghamton with our organization Justice and Unity for the Southern Tier is looking at this very kind of local level, and then also kind of on an upstate wide level.
Well, Andy, I'm sorry. I was ranting and raving there a bit, and we are out of time.
No.
I took a lot of your time. Okay, so real quick.
No. That's, you're right.
In 1 minute, what do you want to leave us with?
If we're going to actually pull back from this thing called mass incarceration, we need to start investing in people. You're right. The greatest thing that we could do is Medicare for all.
So true.
Universal health care would solve an enormous number of these issues. We have to make sure that, and we need to reduce the jail and prison population to as small as we possibly can, and that's a community-wide project. And secondarily, we really need to understand that when people are incarcerated, these are the most marginalized people in our society. This is the way that, as a society, as a country, they've decided to deal with them. Every place in the United States is a center of mass incarceration. Look at your own jail. Look and see what's going on there. You're not gonna have to dig too far to find a tragedy.
It's so true. Professor Andy Pragacz, you could find him at justicest.com, and his partner and works with him is Professor Bill Martin, justtalk.blog. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you.
And now a word from our sponsors. If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
Hey, check out our brand new sponsor, Dynamic Solutions 2. That's the number 2. They offer a life-changing, dynamic financial solution. The finest in fast, professional, affordable credit repair. Is your credit in bad shape? Do you need a new car? Ready to buy a new house? You want to rent an apartment? Are you going to apply for a job? Any one of these activities, they're going to ask for a credit report and then check out your credit score. Let Dynamic Solutions 2 erase your negative credit remarks. They have affordable monthly prices. They accept Visa, MasterCard, PayPal options available. You go to www.dynamicsolutions, that's the number 2.com, or call 424-888-2820. 424-888-2820. Now, if you enter promo code ED or you mention Ed Opperman, you get a 10% discount. How's that? You get a free consultation, all negative items removed, get back in positive credit position. Dynamic Solutions 2, life-changing dynamic financial solutions. 424-888-2820. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. You get a 10% discount.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers